I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters, and we ain't got nothing to hide.
What up, what up, what is up, TGIF? F is what's up over here and over there. I know that to be a fact. It is Friday. Who's fired up, ready for a big weekend here? I am. We've got the last weekend for UFC before the Memorial Holiday weekend, which is perfect timing because I am ready to cook these books. And it's Friday. That means we are joined by none other than one Andrew Babakidis. He'll be joining us from the Las Vegas Superbook, giving all of us the latest sharp betting information we need. We're going to talk UFC. That's his bread and butter. But we'll prod for some other things too. Let's find out what's going on where the NBA and NHL action lies. And whatever else we can think of. So, ask questions, you guys. When Andrew does come in here, he's very willing to answer, I think, just about most questions. We've got some great insight from this guy, and we're fortunate to have him be a part of what we're doing here at Sports Money. So the more questions, the merrier. You'll see we have a busy day here. We got a lot of action. Some would say too much action. Never. We're going to cover a lot of baseball. We're going to cover the NHL. We're going to cover the NBA. And I got 2 WNBA plays for you. Yeah, it's that time of year. Season opens tonight. And thank goodness. I'm tired of watching these grown-ass men flop around. Comeback cities. I mean, come on. These games are unbelievable. I can't believe the effort or lack thereof. It's like they stopped trying. They just stopped trying in the second half. Now, speaking of not trying, I don't know if it's true or not, but team down at halftime, the Nuggets came back and won the third quarter easily. I thought it was the favorite. Turns out it's just play it. Just play it. So we'll watch for that again tonight. That catch. Also, parting show notes yesterday was play the rollovers on the overs. That cashed. So we're running hot, despite the mediocrity that is the NBA here. Although that series, Nuggets and Thunder, tied at 3. That's a lot of fun. We got a closeout series here potential tonight. 3-2, the Knicks going back to the Madison Square Garden with the short pants. The Knickerbockers trying to fire it up and shut down these Celtics. Can it happen? I see Nasty Nate's in the chat. He says they're going to smash. We'll see. We will see. A lot of fun. It's rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball. That's a cool thing. I didn't realize Pittsburgh and Philly was a rivalry, but okay. True story. The first time I ever went to a hockey game when I lived in Philadelphia was the Flyers versus the Penguins. And some guys were wearing a Penguins jersey, walking into the stadium, egging on some guys driving by in the car. Guys got out of the car and punched them right in the face. Talk about setting the tone for your first ever sporting event in the new city. It was wild. I couldn't believe it. So anyhow, that's a rivalry apparently. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. Washington Nationals, Baltimore Orioles. Okay. If you tell me it's a rivalry, I'll believe it. Detroit and Toronto. Who knew? Who knew that was a rivalry? I didn't know that. I was news to that. And St. Louis and Kansas City, I can see that being a rivalry. Those teams are pretty close. Houston and Texas. All right. I get that one. The Athletics in San Francisco. I guess. Just based on the fact that they were from Oakland, right? And then I mentioned the hockey game, the NHL. We got a potential closeout situation here. Toronto had a 2-game lead on that series, goes down to Florida, gets busted up, goes back home, gets busted up. And the fans are miserable about it. Now they're down 3-2, facing elimination tonight. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. WNBA is going to pop off. It's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a big card. We got a lot to do. You know, our guy gets in here promptly, and we don't want to keep him waiting. So we have to get moving. We got to keep this pace rolling. Before we do anything, though, quick recap on the night last night. Holy under was that answer, I would say, for that Houston-Texas game. Unfortunately, it was 1-0. And we were not on the right side of it. That sucked. That was not a fun fact. But, hey, you know, whatever. That's what it is. Wrong side of things was Oakland. Woo! Them boys got busted up. 19-2 now. Did say if you're going to play Ohtani, you got to take his 2+ RBIs at, what was it, 365? What did he get, 100? Something like that last night. OKC blew it for me on the -5, but we swept hockey. Mini sweep, 2-0. We got Winnipeg Jets, and we got the under 5.5 in that Capitals game. So that was good stuff. Tampa Bay Rays busted them up 8-3. That was earlier in the afternoon. So that's pretty much it, right? I mean, this is what it is. Live to fight another day. Small gain on the day, despite it was a triple dip on Houston that ultimately cost us a bigger day, but it is what it is. We're back to fight. We're ready to attack. We got all the things we need in store for this action this evening and a big slate. So we have 6:45 as the first baseball game we're going to talk about in that Pirates and Philly spot out there. But we got to get moving. You guys know the deal. Love the comments. You guys have been doing a fantastic job getting comments on post-show. It's disrupting this YouTube algorithm in a fun way. Again, sports money showing up on the homepage of YouTube when people go out there to search for sports. And that's a tribute to you guys. Thank you for continuing to leave those comments out there. We're going to get the giveaway. I'm pulling all the names today. Everybody that's left a comment from Monday through today. Going to put you guys in the giveaway for some sports money swag. We got the summer gear coming. And you don't want to miss out. You want to get your share of some merch. So keep it going. Keep hitting those comments. But we're in show. You guys know the deal. In show, the thumbs up is the most important. And I've updated the slide. I want to shout out some new members out there, some new silver and golds. We are viewer supported. Your thumbs up, your feedback is all fantastic. And if you take the opportunity to come off a couple more dollars to show some support for us, we want to recognize you. We've got that set up here, updated now in the new slide. I want to thank you guys all that have become silver and gold members. All you guys that are members, everybody that's here rocking and rolling with us. Appreciate you guys all. Take the second now. If you haven't done so, smash that thumbs up button. We almost got 2 slides now. We're almost going to need 2 slides. That's fun. It's fun to see that thing filling up. I do appreciate that, you guys. Thank you guys all for doing that. Taking the time, taking the effort, taking the commitment, taking the dollars out of your pockets to support what we're doing here. It's pretty cool. Pretty neat thing. I still talk with MMA Jeff about how it was just him and I sitting down talking to each other on the camera and 2 people watching. And then one was him and one was me. And so that's the way we go. But it's fun. It's going to be a fun night tonight. We got tons of things to cover. So it's go time and then some. I'm ready. I hope you guys are ready as well. Get that pen and paper out. Time to start taking down notes from our chat, the best chat in the business, giving you guys the business here. Put your plays out there. Let's run through them and let's get to the getting here. 6:45 waits for nobody. And that's the first pitch and first guest. Shout out to Jover. Jover's in the house. Jover's got them polls back out there on the homepage or for the post page. And he's going over in the Tigers and Blue Jay spot. Over 8.5 for our guy, Jover. Shout out to Gerald Jones. He's going over in Tampa, Miami. See his record there, 46-37. Let's get money, says Gerald Jones. He's got vacation 2 weeks from today, heading to Philly, May 31st for Roots Band Picnic. Nice, dude. June 1st, Atlantic City. Oh, this is always my favorite time of year to go to AC. Yeah, I'll probably change now that sports gambling's legal. Maybe the fall would be a better time to go, but I always like going onto the shore. Man, takes me back. Some all-nighters. Woo! Pull those all-nighters now, I'd be shut down for 2 or 3 days. Shout out to Joe Dub. Robert McCormick's here. Stop Geo Engineering says TGIF, mofos. You know it. Let's go. Nasty Nate's in the house. Red Sox Celtics parlay for Nasty Nate. And he's got the second quarter and the first half. I would say that you should have the first quarter, Nasty Nate. Why not? Why not roll it over? First quarter, second quarter. And then in the third quarter, play the Knicks. That's the way it goes. He's teasing it. He's teasing it, he means. Peter Grassi is here. Says lots of action. We got some player props from Nasty Nate as well. He's got White over threes. Pritchard points, rebounds, and assist. Voodoo Rangers in the house says the W is back. I like some WNBA, man. I don't mind watching it. Yeah, I said it. I don't mind watching it. And not for some of the reasons you guys might think. Get yourselves out of the gutters. Barry's in the house. Under 4.5 threes for Derek White. Stat Show thinks I'm all over the Celtics. We will see. We will see. Aubrey in the house. What's up, Aubrey? Good to see you, Aubrey. Thanks for checking in. Says Celtics do not smash. Can't believe that the Celtics are a dog. That's what I couldn't believe. Peter Gracias agrees with Nate. Barry says Knicks and 6. New York, New York. What a weekend. What a day to be in New York. Huh? Mets and Yankees, the Subway Series, and the Knicks and Celtics. Man, it's got to be a fucking zoo down there, traffic-wise. Can't imagine. TransCanada says Winnipeg Jets versus Phillies is the new rivalry. Flyers is the new rivalry. I don't know about that. Big Jets win last night, though. Dana Delp says silver and gold. TransCanada says when my kids... You're going to have a Christmas this year? Oh, man. You're having plenty of Christmas now. We're up, 70? I think it's almost 70 units here. We're rocking and rolling. Old E's in the house. Jay Main. Peter Gracia says, like Nate's Celts Red Sox parlay. Friday night special. I like that, too. There's Cameron Sinet. Says Pacers, baby. Get you some Pacers action. And Skunk Blaster giving us a WNBA look. His WNBA play of the day. The Valkyries. Plus 210. Super dehydrated today. It was a reflection of being super inebriated last night. Okay. Silver and gold, the line from Rudolph. Yeah, I know. I think about that every time I say it, too. Silver and gold. Anyways, you guys, I said we got a lot of plays to get to, so let's go. Let's get to the getting. Let's do it. Let's get some payday going in our direction here. And we're going to pop off. You know what we do here? We look at trends. We look at the angles. We look at the cash flow. We look at just about every factor we can imagine to get it done. If it's bobblehead night or not, all those things play a part into how we're going to get paid here. And I'll tell you this Philly spot is getting steamrolled. 91% of the bets and 94% of the cash on the Phils. The total's getting hammered on the over, but it is not really moving. In fact, could argue it's probably going the other direction. 91% of the bets, 93% of the cash on the over 9. That seems gutsy. That seems ballsy. Suarez will take the bump for the Phillies. On the other side, it's Andrew Heaney going to take the bump for the Pirates. What are we going to say? You guys know my situation here with Philadelphia. They're kicking the shit out of everybody. However, they did take a little stumble and a bumble against them St. Louis Cardinals. They won one game, 2-1. They lost 2 games, 3-2, and then 14-7 yesterday. 2 days ago, I'm sorry. 2 days ago, my bad. Suarez has a 5.91 ERA, and it's atrocious at home. I mean, he's just getting touched up. 10 innings pitched. He's got hit 10 times. He's given up 7 earned runs. He walked 3 dudes on top of that. Touched up. On the other side of things, you got Andrew Heaney. 2.65 ERA on the road. I'm going to sum this one up in one click of a button. There's the click. I'm taking the first 5 for the Pirates. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. One pretty big reason why, frankly. They don't play that well against lefty starters. They're one of the worst teams in baseball. 3-6 against lefty starters. That's a losing number. Also, a team that we'll talk about later, not so good against lefties. 3 teams, as a matter of fact, are not so good against lefties in play today. The Phillies, the Orioles, and the Giants. 1, 2, 3. So I took the first 5 here. The reason that I took the first 5 is that I see the full game, and I'm probably going to get a couple dollars sprinkled on that as well, a couple shillings. But here's the thing. Them bats are pretty good. And that trends a factor against lefties. Once they go to the bullpen, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen out there. I know this. We don't want to have to count on the Pirates scoring runs. Although they did win that series, that last game 4-0 against the Mets. But I want to minimize the exposure in this case. I want to shorten down them hot bats as much as I can and just isolate that lefty pitching matchup and Andrew Heaney. Also, I want to try to expose a little bit on the other side of things there with Suarez. Collectively, I think it's a sound strategy to go out there and attack this thing. First 5 plus a half. Yeah, I mean, it's like plus 110. It's not a terrible look, but if it's a push, it's a push. I got enough action in play tonight that it's not going to hurt my feelings here, but we're almost catching a 2-1 spot. That's the way we want to attack it. Just limit the number of shots that Schwarber has. You know, ideally, Schwarber only faces this pitcher twice. And that means that Heaney's mowing people down. Ideally. It's a little scary. Listen, those Philly bats are certainly scary, and they're capable of popping off at any given time here, but I just think this pitching matchup favors an opportunity for us with a pitcher that's struggling at home as well. So we'll take it. We'll run with it. Let's go. Shout out to Trisha M's up in here. Irish Kings up in here. Cashed the Cubs same game parlay and Cincinnati Moneyline cashed early. Nice. Good stuff. Game 2. The Nationals and the Orioles. And what did we just talk about? The Nationals against a lefty. I'm sorry, the Orioles against a lefty struggle bus. This game's going to be in a rain delay. Not on a side. I'm taking a total factor in this thing. And here's where I think the ideal situation is with this one. You got Maury Povich going, on the Baltimore side of things here. And, when you look at his overall performance, okay, I mean, from a batting, this one comes down to the matchup to me is what it is. It's just a lefty situation. And on top of that, we got 2 things. So we got one, I mentioned the Orioles, they're 2-5 specifically against left-handed starting pitching. The Orioles. Now we saw the Orioles can find themselves on the struggle bus at any given time. Ergo, last game. Maury Povich here pitched himself to a 9-1 loss. He did go 6 innings. He got smacked for 5 earned runs against that Minnesota Twins team as they continue to stack up W's. Now, midfield collision for that Minnesota Twins team. Going to have to change their batting rotation. That could affect them here in that streak that they're on. But in this case here, it's that lefties factor for me for the Orioles. We know that they can get cold anyways. They don't need any extra help getting cold. But the icing on the cake, how about the Nationals? 11-2 to the under, away team, non-divisional opponent. In other words, the lack of seeing this batting and pitching rotation keeps these scores pretty dialed low. I got a 9. The 9's juiced to the under. I talk about that being kind of a key number in baseball, right? But to me, it's just an opportunity to see the Baltimore O's continue to struggle. They're not the O's of last year. And look, the Nationals aren't fucking world beaters. Now, I know a lot of people that are taking the Nationals today. Good luck to you. Nothing inspires confidence in this National side of things. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What are they, 1-9 in their last 10 games? 1-9. And they got an 11-2 to the under trend. Let me tell you, you're not scoring runs, you're not winning games. But both these teams can benefit from an under for us, and we can take this 9 to the bank. And that's the way I'm going to roll with it and get her done. So, game number 2. Game number 2, Baltimore O's under. I'd be okay with an 8.5. I like the 9. I know it's a little juicy, but shop around. I think there are some 8.5s out there. I just want this to be, again, a kind of keeping the push and play, much like we did with the first game there in the Pirates and the Phillies. Game number 3, we're going to keep it rolling. Got to pick it up. We got about 20 minutes till our boy gets here to talk to us about the goods down there in Vegas. Couldn't be any further from Vegas here in the 6th. Detroit Tigers, Toronto Blue Jays popping off here to keep this thing rolling. I forgot to tell you the splits. I'm sorry for that Nationals game. This is what scares me. 50-50 on the bets. 71% of the cash on the Nats. The Lions moved over 20 cents against them. In other words, the O's becoming a bigger favorite despite all the money coming in on the Nats. And that total of 9, 93% of the bets and 96% of the cash on the over. Now, I mentioned this the other day. Let me go back to it. Got my eyes on this Mets game. Rodon, okay, and Miguel, right? Pitching matchup. But they just got shut out by the Pirates. The Mets. As crazy as it is, we comment on it, and it cashes a whole bunch of times out there. And when they're on a road situation, off of a loss, road loss, they're 10-2, the Mets. 13-8 at the Yankees at home. Rodon's got a 3.29 ERA. Miguel's got a 3.10 ERA. It's pretty even split. Where the wind blows for me is towards that Mets side of things here. Coming off that shutout. 10-2. All the aforementioned situations. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. 7:07 p.m. the Tigers will play the Blue Jays. It's Flaherty and Francis. Bowden Francis. 5.4 ERA. Flaherty, 4.6 ERA. And the Tigers can't catch a win with Flaherty. He's got a 5.57 ERA. His last outing, he only went 3 innings. 3 innings from your starting pitcher. He's also 0-3 on the road. He gave up 5 earned runs that last game on top of that. That was the Texas Rangers. I think he was the weak link in that series. And they can't win with this dude. I think they've lost 6 straight with this dude. Brutal. Now, prior to that, bad start with 3 innings pitched against the Texas Rangers. He found himself going 6, 5, and 5 1/3. So in other words, that was a bad outing, and it hurt him. But I don't know that that's indicative of who he is. And man, I can't believe you can't win with the dude. What the fuck? Francis, on the other hand. Francis. 6.52 ERA at home. Francis just found himself going 6.2 innings. He gave up 3 earned runs, 1 homer. Longest he's pitched all season. They did catch that win 6-3 against the Seattle Mariners 6 days ago with Bowden Francis. That was in Seattle. But I'm looking at this thinking, I got a pitcher in Flaherty that should bounce back. And I got a guy in Francis that pitched outside his shoes. Now, on top of that, I don't even know if that's a saying. Is it a saying? I was thinking that they're leaning over the skis. I don't know. I might have just made that up. I'm not sure. I'll tell you this, though. Toronto at home versus righties after a conference game. Awful loss in game 3 of a series and got blasted. Allowed 8 or more runs that previous game. They're 6-5. Not enough of an edge. They are 2-8 to the under. Gives me a little hope if they're going to play to an under and they're not going to run. Maybe we do see that Flaherty bounce back. The Tigers find themselves in a perfect 12-0 spot. If they're a favorite in the series opener, and they very much are the favorite in the series opener, for me, it is a Tigers spot. I'm going to look to see these two pitchers passing each other in the dead of night. One's got to bounce back. One's going to have to regress. And we got a perfect 12-0 trend for a team as the favorite in the start of a series. Love it. I think it's a great look. I think it's a good smack. We'll keep her going. Keep her moving. Shout out to Dabby Cab. What's up, Dabby Cab? It's good to see you, my friend. I sent you you saw my note earlier. All right. Let's go. Nathan Cerna smashed a 3-teamer. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Indeed. Good stuff, man. Good stuff out there. Good to see all you guys here rocking and rolling with us here. All right. Let's keep her moving, boys and girls. We got our guy coming in, Andrew Babikitis from the Superbook in Las Vegas in 15 minutes to talk about some liability for the sports books. So we got to get moving. We got to keep her grinding here. And I'll pop this right up on the screen as we get into it. You guys know the deal for me. Inconsistency is the best way I would describe both of these bats. I would also say that the St. Louis Cardinals are one of the worst teams in game 1 of a series. Some reverse line movement, some 166 down to 150, 64% of the bets and 68% of the cash on the Kansas City Royals. Total, not moving, 95% of the bets, 97% of the cash on the over, not moving. I believe, now Palante can go out there and mow, I'm sure. He's got a 4.36 ERA. He can shut people down. It's Reagan's. That's the guy I want to be focused in on here. 4.21 ERA. Blah. Facing this Cardinals team, they are rolling. 14-5 in their last 19. 5-1 on the road. I think what happened is that you look at a St. Louis team like that and you see this plus money price tag. They just play the Phils. I know that last game wasn't indicative of a tight battle, but still, those were some tight battles. The first 2 games of that series, 1-run games. I think it wears you out. And now you're coming in against a machine in Ragans. 38% strikeout rate this year. And furthermore, you get yourself some opportunity with some nice little edges on this guy. You know, we're looking at, first and foremost, AL Central versus NL Central. It's a real thing. 130-55. 130 wins, 55 losses. The AL Central remains dominant. Interleague home favorites in the game 1 of a series are 59-18 on top of that. And you're going to give me Ragans out there to mow him down? When he's playing against an offense that's above average across Major League Baseball, his unders reign supreme. And that's why I parlayed these two together. A little juicy to get involved on the Royals, especially seeing that maybe this Cardinals team is starting to find some groove here with this little streak that they're on. But 18-7 to the under when Ragans is pitching against a better offense than league average, meaning he steps up. He rings the bell, answers the bell, does whatever he has to do to the bell, shoves that bell right across the fucking plate and catches you striking out is what he does with that bell. And instead of the 8.5, I took it up to the 9. So I got the extra half a run to make it a plus 165 price tag. That's the way I chose to hammer that spot. Let's keep her moving. Set to Markel. This is betting WNBA. Oh, no. Oh, man, I get you. I got 2 spots for you. I got 2 spots for you guys. Let's go. Appreciate the heavy cash. Just checking in. Just checking in for us here. Houston and Texas. Tricky spot with this one here because what we saw with McCullers the last time was he did not answer any bells except for maybe Taco Bell the night before. He got fucking busted up. Meatball on top of meatball. What was it? Without looking. 8 runs in the first? Or was it 9 runs in the first? I can't remember. It was a lot of runs in the first inning. He got shelled. And that was, technically his first start of the season. So what are we going to see out of this guy? And on the other side of things, we have Eovaldi, who can shove. Overall, with these numbers, we got a big favorite in the Texas Rangers, and it continues to get larger. 82% of the bets and 89% of the cash. Smacking on that Texas Ranger side of things here. The total, 8.5, starting to come down to 8s. 93% of the bets, 93% of the cash on the over. Is it an overreaction to that 15.75 ERA that McCullers toasted out there that last game? I don't know. Eovaldi's got a 1.78 ERA, so he should go out there and shove. I thought about playing this one, Texas Rangers first half minus a half. Then I saw some compelling thoughts around the total, and I thought, well, I got some intersecting zeros, so let me get in there. Eovaldi 7-0 to the under when the total is greater than a 6. So he's pretty much an under pitcher. And he's going to make them Houston bats miss. Can McCullers stay in there? Houston finds themselves 13-0 to the under. We're in the dog roll, and they got a total greater than 7. And they're going under by 2 runs a game. And the intersecting point for Texas, if they struck out more than 4 times, they left less than 7 runners on base. They're 12-0 to the under. Meaning they just weren't effective with their bats. And they're going way under by 4.1 runs a spot out there. I took the 8. I'll take the gamble that our guy's going to go back out there, second game back here, and make it happen. At a low vig price tag, too. A minus 103 price tag for the Houston under. I almost made Texas first 5 minus a half. Problem I have is, with the exception of that aforementioned game that we saw 10-3 with Houston and Detroit, or Texas and Detroit, we saw 1-0 yesterday. That game literally could have gone either way. Last game for the Major League Baseball card. Then we'll get to hockey, basketball, and get our guy in here in about 8 minutes now. God, never enough time in the day. Is there? All right. There we go. There's our guy, Ramon Scott. Running so hot. He's got Houston 1-8-2 to the under as a dog. On top of that, how about that? Let's get ourselves some under in that Houston game. And this last game on the baseball card for me is the Athletics and the San Francisco Giants. We got ourselves I don't know. Is it a pitching duel? I mean, we got JP Sears. Certainly like Sears. I talked about him the other day in that lineup. Now, Oakland got busted up yesterday. No doubt about it. What was that? What did I say the score was? 19-2. 83% of the bets, 74% of the cash are on the Giants. It's moved a little bit. It's moved a nickel. The total is what's coming down, though. 97% of the bets, 95% of the cash on the over. Yet it's gone from 7.5 to 7. Logan Webb probably be the reason. Thinking he's going to go out there and shove. I told you, I'm a fan of Sears. I think from a top of the rotation, is he the best that they've got to offer? Probably. I was overusing his name the other day, and it wasn't even him starting. So, for what that's worth out there, but yeah, obviously Logan Webb can go and here's where I think the opportunity lies. I mean, look at the San Francisco team right now. Slumping. 1-5 in their last 6 games. They're generating some offense. As of late, 8-7 loss to Arizona. They won 10-6, but before that, 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 3 runs. So I get the under. Makes a lot of sense. If you're going to take the best pitcher that Oakland has in Sears, you're going to give him a team that could potentially get a cold bat situation going on. I'm intrigued. I talked about the lefty situation. The San Francisco Giants are 0-8. Their last 8 starts against left-handed pitching. They're getting outscored 6.5 to 3.3 on average in those games. They're 0-5 in the first 5 of those games as well. The difference between this game and that Pirates first 5 game, I want more opportunity with the bats from I was going to say Oakland, Sacramento, whatever they're calling themselves, the Athletics. I want all of those at-bats. I got a bad situation for the Giants here against left-handed pitching, so I could make the argument for the first 5. But I just talked about it the other day. Those bats for Oakland or whatever, they're pretty decent. It's their pitching that just, they're pitching on a budget. And that's what happens. But those bats can certainly get on fire. They can go out there and cook. And in a lower scoring affair, with a huge price tag on a dog here at 165, I'll take the full game. I'll take the full shot at this thing and see if we can't make that thing pay for us. These have Craftsman tools. They did. Take them back if they got broke or damaged. All right. I got to pick up this pace here. Look, we're back down to it. I think Austin Matthews got to step up in this game. He's been taking a ton of abuse. Their backs are against the wall. 3-2. Florida leads. Then Toronto Leafs here. Just going to give you guys a rapid fire here because we got to make up some steam here. Our boy's going to be here any minute now. But I'm taking the Leafs. Too much price. I don't care. If I got to eat the L, I'll eat the L. But to me, they were up 2-0 in the series before they got beat up on their goaltender. Not a bad strategy. Take that goalie out early. And then you got Wall out there fluttering and all the other things that go into it. But your boy was pretty dialed in with that goalie news. He ain't coming back till at least game 6, and he ain't coming back in game 6 either. So it's going to be Wall versus Bobrovsky. That's bad concussion, man. Dude was twitching and throwing up. We'll see what happens here. 5 goals that last game. He pulled his ass out. Not his finest night in the office. You saw people overreacting, burning their Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys here. It's just too much. It's just too much price for a team that, Sam Reinhart goes off tonight, probably. But Austin Matthews, I like Austin Matthews to score. I know he hasn't. That's a big problem for him, but we're going to take that one. We're just going to move right on through the. We talked about that. Talked about this series a lot too. Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, keeping her rolling out there. Big game the other day. These first half. I told you what I'm going to do from a live betting strategy is I'm going to wait and see who's down at halftime and then bet that team for the third quarter. That's my live bet strategy. And it's been paying. So we're 2-1 in our last 3 since we've implemented that strategy. And hey, look, the Garden, should the Knicks finish them off? I can't remember the last time Boston was a dog. I'll tell you what, when they are a dog, the under is what reigns true. 7-0 to the under when Boston finds themselves in the dog position. As far as the cash flow splits are concerned, big money coming in on the Knicks. 65% of the bet, 63% of the cash. It's come down 0.5 point. So there's a little bit of reverse movement there. Are they just giving you Boston? Are they giving you Christmas here? We'll see what Andrew has to say about this one. 208.5 has moved to 212.5 with 97% of the bets and 98% of the cash. Well, but, and I'm on it. I'm taking the under. I got a 211.5. So do a little shopping out there. There's some navigation opportunities there. I just think that we've seen one team just shuts down entirely. Now, if the Celtics are going to go out there and rain threes from all over the court, it's going to be an issue. I'm going to need more of game 3 action. 115.93 here. But this number's kind of come up a little bit. Makes sense. They've had back-to-back overs, 208 and 208.5. But it was because, Boston Both teams were out there firing. 127, 102 that last game. 121, 113 the game before that. But once it gets to that 210, 211, 212 number, we're seeing those unders start to come through. So it's a tightly wound series. I'd be remiss to pick a side. I would lean to the Knicks to shut them down. Just doesn't make sense that they're a dog in that spot. So that be the case. Let's keep rolling. Our boy's going to be here momentarily. I got 2 WNBA spots for you guys. WNBA season opener to pop things off here. Wonder what kind of action they get down there at the Superbook when it comes to the WNBA. They're not going to give us any split information either. They're not going to help us out. I'll tell you this. Start with the Lynx in the Wings game. For me, and we saw our guy Scump last year give us the Scump Bag play of the day. The Valkyries. That line's gone from 7 to 6.5 down to 6s and even 5.5. So maybe the dog is live in that Golden State side of things here. But the Lynx for me, big movement on this thing. Original opener was 8s. It's all the way down to 4s. It's a little scary. For me, though, and I was looking at this one overall, I found a couple numbers. Not a ton of data here to start this WNBA season off here, but it's a fade on the Wings. The total's under 178, and they're not an 8-point or greater dog. They're 0-18. In other words, their offense doesn't come through and they play a better defense. And that's what I expect the case to be here. So the way that I approached it, though, I just wanted the first half of this game. I'm just going to try to get in and get out and see if I can't sneak a greasy -2.5 out of there. I did see there's a big discrepancy across the world of these books. There are some 2.5s. There are some 3s. I don't think I see 3.5s just yet, but that's the first spot I'm going to whack out there. And then game number 2, we'll get this going. I see our guys right on time. I love it. I'm seeing him right on time. Let's see what we got here. Let me not screw this up. Second game, I'm getting invested in here early in the season, so we're going to tread lightly. What I found last year with the WNBA is they opened the number up incredibly sharp. It's an incredibly efficient market. I found last year. I'm curious if Andrew has any WNBA thoughts here, but once it moves, it's overcorrection and it's too late. So the over started at 153.5. It's up to 156.5 now. Just going to take the other side of that. I'm going to buy it down here to 156.5 and take the under. Expect this thing to, we'll see how it plays out when it's all said and done, but just a quick little cap that I had there and looking at these two teams and the way that they went down. So without further ado, though, we got our friend backstage. He's ready to go. Let me see if I can get this thing ready to go here. Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. My friend, Andrew Babikitis from the Superbook in Las Vegas. How's Friday treating you, my friend?
Man, it was a busy day. We got some big time action on some of these early football pools that I put up for offensive player of the year and stuff. So keeping up with like exactas and all the manual work. It's been a busy week. Not the best UFC card, obviously. I'm sure you've looked into it. A lot of chalk, which makes it from a booking perspective a little less enjoyable to book. But yeah, man, we got a game 7 coming up with the Nuggets. I'm looking forward to that one. I mean, it's an awesome time of the year with all the sports. But yeah, it's been a busy week for sure.
You guys, Andrew Babikitis joins us from the Superbook down in Las Vegas, and drop any questions you have in the comments section there so that we can address those. I want to thank our guy Big O for the $9.99 dono. And let's get to it, my guy. We got all kinds of action here. First thing I wanted to ask you is, how does the action change when you deal from a pay-per-view card to the baby cage? Do you see that is it generally more sharp? Is it what? Take us through what the process looks like as you try to establish the lines and attract action.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say the lines are a lot more fluid. I mean, you kind of see bigger moves in these markets, especially when there's a little bit less information on these guys. The market is a lot more volatile. And yeah, like around the board, I think there was 6 favorites over $3 this week. So that makes it tough for us. Obviously, we're doing our best to write some dog money early because, I mean, I hate hammering the same nail, but we're going to need to break some parlays, right? There's going to be the parlay action on the Michael Morales, the Bellato, like all the big favorites. Like that's just what it is. We really try to hone in on more of the exact round and method of victory stuff to really, you know, be on top of that because we know these kind of cards more and more handle in those markets, right? Because people are less likely to lay these big money lines unless you're taking a dart throw at the big underdog, right? Usually it's just a bunch of liability and parlays. So like last week's card was really enjoyable because every single fight was like under $2 or
Yeah.
a little bit over $2. But yeah, that was an awesome card. But yeah, there's a few fights that we could definitely talk about. There's been some sharp action picking up today, and yeah, you can definitely. I don't know if you're following along with the market, but there's been some big movers in the market today for sure.
I've been I haven't had a closer look today, but I'm a firm believer and I think last week when I saw some of the reverse numbers out there, I think it worked out to be around a 9-3, based on how the market was moving with the cash and the action that was coming in. So I'm curious. Let's get you in the car, put the keys in this thing for you, let you drive, and tell us what's good. Tell us what's cooking.
All right, well, I'll start out with the main event, the Michael Morales versus Gilbert Burns. I truly don't have much to give on this one. Like I said, lots of parlay liability with Morales, but other than that, there really hasn't been super sharp action. But the co-main event today, we did take a large sharp wager from one of our best UFC bettors on Paul Craig at plus 400. That's moved a lot. We just, you know, when you get a big wager at plus 400, that liability adds up quickly. Um, so a few big, bets, we kind of had to move aggressively to try to balance the books on that one. And, I always try to say we don't try to overdo it early because, day of, most of that handle comes in day of, especially with the parlays and stuff. I'm not going to say all, square bettors or public bettors bet day of. There's sharp bettors that bet day of as well, but you will get a majority of the handle in parlays day of. So we're not overdoing it yet on the Bellato side, trying to write back like a significant amount of money. But yeah, it's nice to know that there is some respected action on Paul Craig in that co-main event. Then the Santos versus Yusuf fight. This is probably the one with the most sharp action on. This one opened minus 125 on Santos. We're currently sitting minus 165, so you can kind of see where the sharp action at least is coming in for us. We got banged at minus 125 and minus 140 again today by one of our sharper UFC bettors. So we've done what we can to try to need that Santos side. I'm surprised it's moved that much because I think Yusuf is a really tough out, and like I said, the price opened closer to a pick. But yeah, that sharp customer is kicking our butts, so we're not going to lose on his side, that's for sure. Couple more I'll go through. The Julian Erosa versus Melky Costa fight. We did open. Let's see, we opened Melky Costa at minus 220. We did take some early sharp action on Julian Erosa at plus 195. That's another one that's been a pretty solid size mover. Costa is now sitting minus 175, so about a 50-cent move on that one. What else did we? A little bit further down on the card with some of the women's fights, there's a couple interesting tidbits on those. We opened up Santos at minus 135 against Lisboa. We did take a pretty significant amount of wagers on that Santos side early. We're currently sitting minus 190 now. So we're honestly not sitting in the best spot on that fight. We do need Lisboa for quite a bit. But I wouldn't say that's the most respected action, but it clearly moved the line market-wide. You're not going to see that minus 135 anywhere in the world anymore. So yeah, we're not in the best position necessarily on that one. We did take a bet on the over in that fight as well. And then the last fight that, unless you have questions about any other fights, the Pennington versus Pinheiro fight. We did take another large bet on the dog in that one, so we're going to need Tisha Pennington in that one. So that's a good thing to need some favorites going into tomorrow because, like I've said a couple times, that parlay liability will be there tomorrow. Along with that Pinheiro bet, we did take a sharp bet in that fight on the under under 2.5 plus 350, which was pretty surprising because Tisha is usually fighting to a decision. I think she has one or two finishes in her career, and yeah, that was an interesting bet to see at plus 350. But yeah, that's pretty much the most of what the sharp action is looking like on the UFC slate this week.
That's awesome. I'm very excited to hear you talk about the Bear Jew action coming in because I gave that play out on Wednesday. I said, this guy's fighting for his life, literally. Definitely the more senior guy, but you gotta show me who you fought. And you got a dangerous, animal on your hands out there. A big price tag. And the dog in the co-main, I told you this last week. I love that spot. Those cash quite a bit for us. And 4-1 was like, what? It just didn't seem right. That just seemed like it was a mismatched number. Maybe I'm going to be wrong at the end of the day, but I'm glad to hear the actions on that side of things.
Yeah. Do you have any? This is another one I didn't even mention, but do you have any opinions on this Moises versus Jared Gordon fight? I know this is a big talking point in the back room. Kind of mixed thoughts on that fight, and the price has kind of gone Gordon's way. We've taken some big bets on Gordon, but personally, I really think I like Moises, especially now that you're getting a little bit of plus money on that Moises side. Do you have any thoughts on that one?
Originally I was looking at the Gordon side of things, and I think it was. Let me check this really quick and see if I can find it. But what makes me think about this is what you mentioned the other day, where the sharper action tends to come in on the dogs on game day itself, where they're trying to catch the best number. So as this line starts to kind of percolate a little bit more, I'm looking at this thing, starting to think, is this the spot? I was looking at a decision spot for this thing. Fight goes the distance. I thought it was a tough spot. I know my counterpart here, MMA Jeff, agrees that thing goes to decision, but we're both pretty split. He likes Moises to go to decision, and I was looking at the Gordon side of things here. So it's a tough one. It's not the easiest.
It sounds like you're split too, for sure.
Yeah.
That's probably the most fun fight, in my opinion, on the card because the opinions are so mixed on that one. So yeah, I was interested to hear what you were thinking on that spot.
What are you seeing on the Stoltzfus side of things there? I saw him open up as a little over $2.
Yeah.
Looked like some cash was coming in on this guy. Do you think it's warranted, or am I?
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. We did take a sharp bet on Stoltzfus today. It's from here's how I'll put it. We were a little off market. It was a sharp customer who came in and got a decent sized wager down on it, but I'm not necessarily sure if he was just shopping for the best number or if he was originating or has a real play on that one. Sometimes it's hard to read what these sharp guys are doing, right? But this one opened up Ruzaboyev minus 250. It got as high as minus 310. Now we're currently sitting minus 230. So it's a little bit under what we opened it at minus 250. But yeah, maybe that minus 310 price tag was a little hefty. And, he liked the dog because we got a little too high on that one. So there was some sharp action on that one. I'm not too sure how to feel about that. I kind of like the favorite to take care of business, but I'm not the way I bet. I personally don't like to bet anything that's really above $3, and I don't really back up the dump truck to do that kind of betting personally. I mean, I know there's smart people who do it. It's just not how I bet.
How do you? That's a great question. I think that comes out of that is kind of looking at this saying, when you see minus 400s and 500s, does the action tend to move more towards the prop side of things or the finish versus do the sharp bettors just come in there and dump the truck on a big 500?
Like that is a good question. Obviously, like I mentioned, they will be thrown into parlays with different sports, right? Series prices that we've been seeing a lot of series prices parlays. It's kind of anything that they just feel like they can just tag on an extra leg, right? It's that free money. It's a $6 price tag, but it's always nice when one of those is blowing up a bunch of parlays from the book's perspective, at least. But yeah, sometimes, like I mentioned before, these really calculated sharp guys will wait till this price inflates because they know the books are seeing all this parlay liability and that price keeps inflating, and then you get hit on Gilbert Burns' day of for five-figure bet, and then you're stuck. Whatever. A pretty big decision if a couple guys catch you before you're moving the line aggressively, right? So it's always something to keep an eye on. Like I said before, it's not my favorite kind of card to book because you basically know what these guys are trying to do. I like the fights like the one we just talked about, the Jared Gordon fight. Like, there's mixed opinions. It's very simple to book a fight like that, and you don't have to. I'm not overly. This is kind of how my boss put it. He basically said, you go in with your opinions, but then if they're validated by the sharp action, then you can try to win a little bit more money on those, right? So I'm not overly trying to book off of my opinion. I'm trying to really understand where the sharp action is going to come in and do my own research and try to line up with the sharp guys pretty much in a simple way.
Yeah, that makes sense. Speaking of kind of taking the big action, how did that dog work out for the main event there, JDM last week? Was that a payday for you guys, or was that
an absolute? It basically was our whole day was in that fight. If Bilal would have won, we would have had a significant losing card. And since JDM won, that was one of the best cards for the whole year so far, which was I couldn't believe how much of a swing that one was. Like I think I mentioned it on the show last week that there was sharp money on Firo and JDM. I never understood the steam in the Firo fight, but that JDM one, that was a confusing one to me too, because the number kind of started steaming back up on Bilal before the fight happened. So I was very nervous that Bilal was actually the side. But yeah, that original sharp action that came in on JDM, that early action, they got that one right. I don't know if Bilal would fight with that same game plan if they fought again, but we'll take that one. That was a great one for the book. Great one.
I'd imagine so, especially because there was it 3 dogs in a row for the finish on that thing? So, those parlay bettors that want to toss those free bets in there to beef it up is they got cleaned out. And then they probably, I would imagine when you get 3 fights before the final there and you're losing, you're probably running back to the counter to place those tickets again.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I bet you guys did really well.
That Aldo fight was awesome too. I was very happy with that decision as well. That was a great fight, honestly. The Aldo versus Hobby fight.
Yeah,
that was a great card for what everyone was kind of crapping on it because there wasn't a lot of big names. But man, it ended up being a pretty solid card.
Anytime there's violence on a weekend, I'm in for it. I don't care if it's a great card or if it's an Apex card. I find I tend to do a little bit better on these Apex cards out there.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the guys a question came in for the debutant here in Camilo. Do you find that? I mean, this guy's getting steamed. It looks like on at least at a 50,000 foot view. Debutants, are those pretty popular for bets or sharp bettors? How do they react when it comes to a guy making his debut in the UFC?
I would say those markets are always a little bit more volatile. I feel like they move so much more aggressively because, that this is one of the fights we talked about in the back. We know a little bit about Gabe Green. He obviously hasn't fought in a while. He's fought some really solid fighters. But then, like you said, he's fighting a UFC newcomer, and the price clearly steamed in his direction. I don't know if that's necessarily driven by completely sharp money or driven by people who, are trying to get the price to go up to get a better dog price. It could be a lot of both because I don't really know how it is at all the other books, but I feel like these lower level fights, it doesn't take as much sharp action or action in general to move those lines. So That one we opened minus 170. It's currently sitting minus 230. It got as high as minus 250, but it's starting to creep back down a little bit. I know one of the guys thinks that Gabe Green will be a tough out for this guy, this newcomer. And I don't know. I don't know the statistics on it, but I feel like a lot of the debutantes kind of, it takes a while to get used to being in the UFC, and some of them get humbled in that first fight. So this one's a big question mark for me, for sure. I'm not really sure how I feel about this fight.
There's a lot of 7-year age differences on this card. I thought 7. I think there's 7 of them. And one of the things I found is that, and we see it, right? It's statistically, they talk about it almost week in and week out. When they've got that 7-year, the younger, they're winning at such a large clip. I was surprised to see that many on this card for this weekend. So that was something that I kind of took away. Do you find any other, do your sharp guys look at any, do you think that they're more tape watchers? Are they trend watchers? Are they just familiar with the business?
It's a good question. I mean, really the best thing I could say is we really just try to dig into all the analytics of how these guys are betting, like our sharpest guy, he just tends to bet small underdogs. That's all he bets. Like it's the same kind of fights every single time. So really it's trying to find a balance of reading what is real and what is fake, right? Mm-hmm. Or, what is good and what is not. It's really tough. You really want to try your best to balance the books and then win a small amount on those plays that you trust. I'm not sure how these guys come up with their information. Obviously, I know how I come up with my information. I watch every fight and try to listen to as much content as I can from people that I respect. But I think I talked about it before with you. It does make it hard when I'm sitting here seeing the action come in, because sometimes I'll have an opinion and then it will be thrown off by one of the sharp guys, but then my original opinion wins and I'm like, dang it, dude, I should have just trusted myself. But it's a different perspective when you're working behind the counter, for sure.
I can only imagine. There's a question about models. Do you guys have is it a proprietary model that gets involved with setting some of the lines, or do you I mean, it's got to be a little bit of art and science, I'd imagine.
Right. So, I mean, I can give out what we did for, like, we just opened up all these future fights. Dana White goes on his Instagram and, announced 316, 317, 318, whatever fights. So me and my boss, who's been, booking and odds making for the UFC for, I don't know, the last 15 years, we'll go over those fights and, we'll create our numbers on our own and then we'll all talk about the numbers. So it's really not the most advanced way. Like, I know other books are doing it completely different. I'm not saying this is how all books do it. I would say a lot of books respect the numbers that are coming from our book. And I think some of the odds makers are the best in the world that are working here. So it's fun to learn from those guys. But everything, like I told you before, everything in our system is completely manual, which is a lot different than some of the other technology that's driving numbers at some of the other books. But like we'll go over, give our numbers separately, and then we'll discuss it and we'll come up with a number and we'll throw it up. And really the market is driven by the money that's coming through the window.
Oh, that's gotta be fun. I bet you get you gotta be busy all the time, I'm sure, with keeping your eyes on, probably get a little probably shake your head a little bit when Dana White starts firing off 6 or 7 upcoming matches and you're like, oh no.
No, I mean, this is the thing. I wish I could spend more of my personal time strictly focused on the UFC. I mean, our team is not as large as it once was. Obviously we're not in as many states as we once were. But yeah, I love booking the UFC, and whenever somebody asks me on, X or Twitter to put up a fight that they're interested in, I love to come up with a number, and I love to see the money coming in on some of the stuff that we're creating, and balancing the books is not overly difficult if you come up with a decent number at the beginning, but sometimes we're way wrong. It just happens that way.
Hey, closing thoughts here before I let you run and get your weekend going here. NBA, NHL, some big games tonight, some backs against the wall. Are you seeing any significant liability one side? I can't believe the Celtics are a dog. Maybe it's just me.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we have been getting bet pretty big on the Knicks. I think a lot of people are thinking that they're going to take care of business today. Let me see where this thing opened up, at least from our book. Yeah, we opened up -2.5. It's up to 3 now. I don't really have a strong opinion or lean, but I know from our perspective, we're definitely going to need the Celtics tonight. We are going to need the Celtics. Future-wise, let me check how we do on both of those. I know that the guys really were trying to protect Celtics liability this year because they were really high on the Celtics. Obviously, Tatum's injury, might shift their minds a little bit about them winning a championship now. But I know we are a loser on the Knicks to win the championship, and we were a winner on the Celtics.
Huh, surprising. Maybe not. To your point, too, with Tatum and the involvement there. Let me ask you that last question then. When you see an injury happen like that, what's the process look like to bake that into the number? We hear it all the time, and I know that maybe the NBA is not your space per se, but how much does that injury factor into the line? How do you go about it? Because I see all the time, Steph Curry's out, and it's like, oh, they moved it 5 points. Well,
yeah, it's honestly the absolute worst sport to keep up with because the injury news, these guys. The funny thing is, I love the NBA. It's probably my first love in a sport. I grew up watching every Laker game because I loved Kobe so much. So yeah, that was like my first love of a sport. But from a booking perspective and what these guys have to go through with these injury reports, man, it's honestly ridiculous. Like the numbers baked in, but then when they get that official alert, the number still moves because it's dude, everyone knew Tatum wasn't playing. Tatum tore his Achilles. Everyone had a feeling about that. But then when they announced his Achilles is torn, the number still moves. It's like, it's so funny how it works. Like I don't really get it. But these guys all have their ways of trying to get ahead. We're not getting any information different than what the customer or the public is getting, right? Like you can use the same resources that we're using. Using underdogs injury reports. There's a lot of good ones out there. And we're just trying to keep on and beat the customers too, because we know how these guys are thinking about betting. They're just waiting, especially for the regular season. Playoffs is a different story. A lot easier to book the playoffs. But regular season, man, those 82 games are an absolute pain in the butt to book for sure.
I can only imagine, man. That's awesome insight from our guy, Andrew Babakides. Tell them what's going on, where they can find you, my friend, and let's get you onto your weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this Game 7, honestly. But if you guys haven't stopped, if you're in Vegas, feel free to come say hello at the book. We have I truly believe one of the best books in the whole world to watch the games at. It's pretty awesome. We're very competitive in pricing, 108 splits in NBA. So yeah, it's all about price shopping. So if you're trying to add another book, this is the book that you want to do that with for sure. Yeah, and if you haven't followed me on X yet, feel free to ask me any questions. And if you just want to chat, we can chat. And fights, if you have any fights that you want up, I'm your guy for that for sure, 100%. And like always, I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to do some of these pay-per-view cards with you. A couple extra segments during the week, hopefully, for the pay-per-view cards. But yeah, sorry I don't have too much intel on this UFC card. Not my favorite card, but yeah. Thanks for having me on again.
Well, very much appreciated. We're so fortunate to have you take the time out of the day to spend it with us and share what's going on behind the counter. Gives us another look at the way this business gets done. So we're fortunate. Thank you for making the time, and we'll see you again. Obviously, no UFC next week, so we'll be back and ready to attack when they get back in business, and we'll talk more about what we can do on this pay-per-view side of things. So check out our guy Andrew Babakides. You see his info on X there on the screen. Great insight. Great split information come fight night. Just great follow informational all around, you guys. We're fortunate to have him here. Make sure you give him a like out there and comment on some of his content that he puts out on Twitter as well. And that'll do it for us here from Sports Money, you guys. Appreciate everybody. Have yourselves a great night, and we'll be live tomorrow for the 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff, UFC at the Apex. And that's the way we're going to put the bow on the show. You guys have a great weekend. See my guys.